Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Today, back into Decisive Campaigns, Ardennes Offensive. We're playing the Ardennes scenario, and we've got moving along here. We're in turn two, and we're in turn two. I'm just making sure. I had to think about that for a second. We've moved most of the 559th. Now, you see down here, here is Ardennes. That's kind of the ultimate goal. That's worth 10 victory points. We've got some other locations out here that are worth 5. You see the 10s here, but that's just zone of control. That's not points. That's just zone of control that they're throwing up. So if we move through those hexes, we're going to pay an extra 10 AP as we do our action points. One thing I did want to just point out, now we're not really covering supply in these series of videos, and the reason is this is a smaller scenario, so it's a little less important. Of course, it's important that you don't get any units cut off. I think that kind of goes without saying, right? If we had a unit, here, they're not going to be getting any supply, so I guess it's important in that sense. But in the big picture, supply is not something we're dealing with here, but you can see right here, this box behind here, and I could take off the town names, but this box here, that is a supply source. I think this bigger box here is a major supply source. And then when we play the grand campaign, out here, let's just say we took this town, maybe we want to build a minor supply depot, but we'll get into all that when we play the grand campaign. Let's go down to the map and let's start playing the game. All right, when I left you last time, we had moved most of the 559th Volksgrenadiers. We did still have a few movement points, and I just want to go back here and see what we might want to do. Now, we don't know what this unit is. We got the big question mark here. It did ambush us a little bit, and you can see here, it's on this level 1 hex. If we go down to the hex stats, it's a height 1. This infantry unit here, which is the part of the 1125th Volksgrenadier Regiment, it has moved up beside it on this road. We have this one, and they both have movement points left. So we could potentially attack here. And to do that, right now we're on inspect, so the game will do nothing other than allow us to look around. But if we went to move, now you see the bullseye pop up, and we could go after this unit. Well, let's right click on it, and that brings up our attack screen here. And since we were on this unit, it just shows this being the attacking force, right? But it shows us any other eligible forces that could go into this attack. So if we put that down there, now it shows our odds at 2-1, and we can go get all the breakdown here of what's going on. Concentric attack modifier. Okay, from the more sides you attack, the more bonus you'll get. Excellent, right? It's like flanking. We've got readiness modifier on attack values. And if we go and just look down here, there's our action points. We're showing 81 readiness for this unit, which, I mean, we're midway through the day here. And so, 81, we've moved a little bit, but he's still got, a decent amount. But it's showing us that we actually are going to get a penalty for readiness, and that is because they've moved, and they're a little ways away from 100% readiness. So you can see the negatives there, including for the 81 millimeter mortar. So this breaks it down per each element out here, which is awesome. I mean, that's just another level of detail. So it's not just the whole unit, it's every single element of the unit. Then we have readiness modifier on hit points. Okay, kind of the same idea there. Um, Experience modifier on attack values. Well, we do have some experience, so that's going to give us a bonus. All when they add it all together, 27%. We've got experience modifier on hit points. Then we have max attack saturation modifier. This modifier turns negative if you're committing too much firepower on too little of a quantity of targets. And so, if you stack 6 units in here and fire, I think what that's really modeling is at some point it's almost like overkill. You're not going to get the full value of each unit the more you add more and more guns, right? They can't do much more damage because you're already damaging it with the initial set of guns. Does that make sense? Then we have our command modifier. Cumulative modifier when they put it all together is 53%. So that takes our raw attack value from 381 to 582. It's 2 to 1. I don't want to take that attack. Um, 2 to 1. I want it to be at least 3 to 1, generally speaking. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, an old maxim of attacking. But 2 to 1's not good enough. Not this early. I mean, if we were a little desperate, maybe. I really want to move this unit out. Now we could move it down here, but I think that opens up a little path. He could find, kind of block these guys over here on this road. So I kind of want to move to the level 2 height. This will also give us an advantage over this unit. Now we can't attack this time, but if we wanted to next time, we would have a height advantage here, which is a positive modifier, and we're threatening to get around behind him. I think that will cause him to retreat. Now we may take a little intercept fire here, we'll see, but I do want to move forward there, and we don't take any intercept fire. And that also, puts more recon value out here on these hexes. As we move forward, you project more recon points out here, and you can tell more what's in these hexes. So we're not seeing anything, and we're up here on this level 2. Now there is a level 2 here, so we may be a little blocked, and you can see in the blue, we're not totally blocked, but a little bit anyway, and we've got green down here. But this is because it's the same height, right? If you're looking at a flat plane, you can see a little ways out there, but you can't see out over the horizon like you could, if you're at a height level that's higher. Another thing I wanted to point out, and this was brought up in the comments, and I want to thank whoever said that. I'm sorry, the name escapes me, but thank you for pointing this out. I was talking about Bizage here, and do we know anything whether it's in here or not? Because I was thinking about moving out here and getting into town. Do we know? Well, that person pointed out that as long as the recon is over the hide, and I'm on the hex here, as long as the recon is over the hide, we would spot that there's a unit there if there is a unit there. And so this confirms there actually is not a unit in Bazange because we have 36 recon, 34 hide. Now, I've been talking about a rule of thumb of plus 20, and I think the plus 20, that's when you start getting actual detailed information about the units. But that's not what we have right now. But we do know that there is no unit here because the recon is over the hide value. Okay, move on. Um, so we've moved these guys out here. We could move forward one more with the pioneers here. No, we can't. Actually, we could just move this way. That's because it's light woods, and also because we'd be stepping from a height level 2 down to 1. Now, that is an advantage, right? I mean, well, no, I mean, not really. I mean, the height level 2 is better, but I mean, you're going down. What I was meant to say is when you're going downhill, you would think that would kind of be an advantage, but not really, right? I mean, it's going to be hard to get all of your equipment going from a hilltop downhill too, and so it is more movement points. And you can see to here, it's not. And so we could move this way, but we can't come down here. Um, Okay, so we've moved all of these. We've got the command here. You can see everybody's in command. So as of right now anyway, there's really no reason to move anything here. Now this artillery, we've already fired that artillery, so it's going to stay here. This artillery has already been fired, and let's bring up the stack and mini. I like to have this up just to make sure there's not anything else in that hex. And now that we've done that, we've got these infantry units, and we have an anti-tank unit. So we have 3 infantry parts of this regiment, and we have an anti-tank part of this regiment, and I want them to go down the hill this way. Let's try to get around behind here because we do have 11th Panzer that's going to be moving down this road, tying up these guys a little bit, right? Now, I probably will have to leave one bit of the infantry behind just because we have this artillery exposed a little bit. We don't want him to just come over here and run over the artillery. Um, 1 second, we get a drink really quickly. Put this on pause. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, so we've got this bit of the 1126th and the 1127th out here, 1125th over here. And I'm ready to move these guys, but before we do that, I actually think I want to move one of the 11th Panzer. If we look at this motorized, we look on this stack, we've got two motorized groups here, and I think I want to move up on this ridge. Why is that? Well, it'll give me more recon out here, just in case there's something out here we're not seeing. Now, that seems unlikely, but I don't think this is going to, this is only going to be a positive if we move forward here, and I've got it on move. If I wanted to move both, I'd go to group, but I've got it on move. I'm just going to move one of them forward to peek up over this ridge and see what we're dealing with. Let's hope we don't get any intercept fire. And we don't. Okay, and now you can see, we've kind of determined that there are two stacks here. Did it add anything? Well, maybe a little bit. I don't remember. Was there two stacks here before? Maybe we identified another one. But anyway, there was no harm to that. I'm going to move him down this road anyway. And I thought, well, why not? Let's get a little extra sight over this ridge line and down towards the river to see what we're dealing with. Okay, now that we've done that, what do we want to move? What do we don't want to move? Well, this was kind of protecting the road because he did have some armored motorized forces here, and I just didn't want him to come straight this way on us, get on top of us, right? But I think that that danger is going to kind of pass because these units are going to continue down the road. And I think I will bring this one more hex now, get it up to the river, and then hopefully get across the bridge here. But let's just see if we get any intercept fire. There's more out here we don't know about. Let's come again. Okay, no intercept fire. So we're moving unencumbered here, just down the road. And then I think I'm going to go one more across the bridge here with this unit. Now we may catch some intercept fire here. We'll see. And we do not actually. And he's still got 5 movement points. So great. So we moved him, and we will most likely, keep moving this motorized down this road as well. But then let's go back over to the 559th. Now we don't have to pin these guys here. We may have to leave something back a little further, maybe on this road, so we can't, advance and come take this town around behind us, right? But we can start moving some guys out here. And let's start with this infantry unit. You can see it's going to always try to take the path that costs you the least amount of movement point or action points, I should say. So let's get him moving out here, and let's go on top of the artillery first, and then we'll just come down the road. All right. And then I don't want to take intercept fire there, certainly. I think what I'll do is come here. Now, we don't really know if he has anything here. We do have a guy here. Let's go and see in the hex points, recon and hide. We have a higher recon point score than hide, so there should be no unit here. Let's see if that's true. Wrong. Well, that's why we play the game. Now we've got a 51 recon and a 34 hide. Now, I don't know if that was because it was so close, but I maybe have given you improper information. I'm going to have to go back and look at that because I don't know. I mean, he's in a town, but we definitely had a higher recon score than hide. Okay, maybe this obstruct score plays into it. Okay, and I'm going to have to go back and look at that. So again, that's why we're doing this. But apologies if you were following along and you're like, oh no. But all right, well that's fine. I mean, we didn't take any intercept fire, so there was actually no ramifications from that. I was going to move here anyway, but that's why you move one hex at a time, right? You start to uncover things. But I will go back and figure out why that was the case. Um, Let's look at this 5134. Maybe it's the obstruction. Maybe that changes it, that modifier. I'm going to have to go read the book about that. And when we come back next episode, we'll talk about this more because it's obviously incredibly important with the intercept fire concept that you not be just stumbling on top of things, which which we just happen to do there, but no negative effects. So I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna get too mad. Now this guy, again, you never know. You may get intercept fire the second time around. So again, I'm going to want to move out here hex by hex by hex. And this guy, I actually think I'm going to move down here. Now, I could put him here and double stack. I am worried about intercept fire, but I want to spread these guys out a little bit. And the reason is I think we've got him a little bit overwhelmed over here with just units. And if I double stack, yeah, sure, we're stronger here and we could attack there, but we could do that anyway next turn. I'm going to move him. I wish I could get here. I wish he could get there, but we can't. So, wishes don't always come true. We could also come here and pressure the town and really start to pressure him to have to drop back because if we get into town here, he's got a real problem with his retreat, right? I mean, this is the main road out of here, and he's got 3 units up here. I do think I'm going to go here. Okay, now we've kind of spread out across this ridge line. Next turn, we can move up here, we can move up here, we can move up here, and now all of a sudden we're looking right down into the valley of the ultimate mission objective. All right, what about these guys? Well, I'm going to hang them back a little bit, or at least the infantry I am. The anti-tank we're seeing here, I've got it on move. He can get a long ways out here. I was going to put him on movement mode because I didn't think he could quite get here, but it looks like he can. So I'm going to take the anti-tank and actually move him all the way here on this road because we have this armored unit here and I'd like to protect against it. Now, it's probably not going to attack uphill, but we may want to attack downhill next turn. So we'll put that there. And then I'm just going to stack this infantry right here. This now protects against him trying to fly into town here, right? And also, protects this artillery a little bit. And we just kind of have, I don't want to call it a reserve force, but we do have a force back here that should, we determine where the main point of resistance is. We can move him up and help there. Now, let's see. Do we have everybody in command? We do, but I think we could move this guy up even further. We could have even put well, we couldn't quite get him there. I was going to say we could cover with the command here, but I don't want to leave that artillery uncovered. We could keep moving up here, but I don't see any real reason to move him this time. Um, he's fine. He's got all of his guys in command, 100% command bonus. Now, the one thing I do want to do, though, is make sure there's not a card we want to play. So let's go to the officer. Recon, entrench, care, hold, attack. I don't really see anything here. I think what we're going to want to do is use the attack card next time when we get this +2 and this becomes 12. Then we can get an offensive bonus. Like if we did want to attack here, we'll put it on this, the infantry here and get that attack bonus. So I think I'm going to hold on to that. All right. So we've moved down the road here. Do we continue moving? Probably. I think, well, we're almost certain to take intercept fire there. Why don't we instead move this motorized down the road? Now we're going to have a decision to make. Do we keep pressing this way down this road here, or do we come and kind of surround this mech unit? And I think that's pretty much what I want to do. So let's get him here. Now we may take some intercept fire here, but let's move into the hex next to this unit. Yep, we take no intercept fire. We've still got 4 movement points. This still has 5. And so we may move him one more, but we're going to see because we're going to go back here to our armor and our 24 Panzer IVs, and we're going to get these guys moving down the road. Now, again, we could put it on movement mode, but I think we're in a little too close contact. That's really, in a smaller scenario like that, it's really for your artillery to try to get that up to the front. Once you've, fired it a couple of times, now all of a sudden you're behind several ridge lines. Then you put your artillery in move mode and get it cruising. All right, I'm going to move this motorized up the road one again. Well, now that's showing it's anti-aircraft, but there are two units here. Do we know what the other one is? We do. It's armor. Okay, and so we can click on this. We can see exactly what it is. We have good intel on it. 66th Armored Artillery Battalion. Okay. It's showing a 32 strength. I wouldn't always live and die by those numbers. Um, but I think we're going to move right here, get right up next to him, and we'll see if we get any intercept fire. We don't. Okay, excellent. And then let's get our armor across the bridge while we can. They haven't blown a bridge yet, so when they came back here, possible they didn't have any engineers or they just didn't think they had time. Now they may blow this bridge. We'll see. You can see the little bridge there. If they have enough engineering points, they could potentially blow that bridge. But there goes the armor. Okay, he's across now. And again, we still have movement points. But do I just kind of leave him here? I'm playing a little cautious. I know that. But it's first time through, and I just don't want to make any mistakes because I'm getting a little too aggressive. I think we're in a pretty good position here in the north with the 559th. 11th Panzer is now across the first bridge. And as you can see, all the way to Aracourt, there are no more bridges. So, it's just going to be attack and move at this point. All right, so now we've got our next group here. And what do we have? We've got a double stack here of anti-tank and the motorized. Okay. Um, Now, just looking at this situation, I certainly would like it if I had something up and around on this side as well. Now, you could say we could bring these guys up here, but I think we're going to have to start shifting south here a little bit. He's got a lot of strength in the south, and he's almost cut off this unit. So I'm actually going to be shifting all the 113th Panzer. I'm going to be moving it down here, and so we don't really we're going to need something here, but we do have our armor coming up this road. And that's one of the reasons I looped this around, because I could kind of foresee that this area might be a problem, especially if we had to move south. And so why don't we take these guys as a group move and move. Well, we're going to take Jubilees no matter what. We don't really need to go this way to take Jubilees. So let's go the one that's going to take the least amount of action points. I'm on group mode or move, so they should both move, and they do. All right, and then we're going to just sit right here across the bridge from the mech unit. Um, what else does he have in here? Okay, he's got a mech unit and an armored unit, so I'm glad I've got this anti-tank. I'm still on group move. Let's go here. We again don't take any intercept fire. That's kind of interesting. Look, I don't know the action point situation there. Now we have this unit. We could go all the way around, but I don't really see the point in that. Instead, I think I'm going to cross over here. This is the crossing point, right? Here we're just kind of holding, because why would you want to attack across the river if you don't have to, right? And so let's go out and around this way, and I think we should be pretty good to here. I can't imagine we're going to get any intercept fire. Famous last words. And let's stack him with the armor. And so the armor's a little protected there. We have all of these units across now. We have this blocked against any kind of counterattack. And I think what I'll do then is take this command. We've got to go back to move. You can't do group move with just one unit. Let's go back to move. He can come around here, and I think we're going to eventually put him in Jubilees here, at least, in the short term. We could also put him here, but I think Jubilees, it's centrally located on the map. Um, any cards we want to play here? Supervise. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. It would only be this one, morale. Again, this is maybe something we use on day 3 if we need it. I do think yeah, maybe he does need to move up into here. But the first thing I want to do is put the anti-aircraft with him. How far can the anti-aircraft go? It can only go to here, so maybe we'll actually keep them together. Another thing that I've noticed is, or thought about, is this anti-aircraft. If you had it on top of this, it would be protecting all of these units from aircraft. So it's not like you have to have them with the headquarters. Um, just something to think about. And the more that your headquarters are forward, you could also, get them up close to the units, and then that anti-aircraft protects all of them. We also, oh, that's right, we have Wiedersheim here, who is the commander of the 100, or I'm sorry, 11th Panzer. Well, duh. Okay, he's the guy that's going into Jubilees then. And do we have anything we want to play? He does have 12 points here. We could have done speed, but I'm not sure that that would have made any sense, not during this turn anyway. Tank drive, that might be something he wants to do. Attack, okay, so it's probably going to be attack or tank drive that we play. He's got a pretty good audacity score, so fine. Let's do a group move with Wiedersheim and his anti-aircraft and get him up to and capture Jubilees. All right, and there they go, and they're into Jubilees, and we've gained those action points. Now, we could actually move up here, too, just to give the anti-aircraft protection, because if we look at the anti-aircraft unit, okay, you've got this flak. It's a range of 1, all right? And so, we've also got the L88 millimeter, which is a range of 3. So we could get some intercept fire in on something. Now he's got a 33. What are the chances these two armored units are going to try to cross a river with no bridge and attack? Probably not good, but I'm not quite that crazy yet. So what I'm going to do is just move into this town. So he protects or not this town, but out of town into this hex. So he's protecting here anti-aircraft, but the 88 millimeters also could get an intercept fire on these tanks. I mean, they're anti-tank guns. They weren't initially used for that in the war, but they became the best anti-tank guns. So I'm going to move right there. We protect here. Also, if he did come here, we've got zone of control on that. We can kind of protect against the town anyway. We can't move this artillery anymore. Okay. So now we are over here to the main headquarters for the 58th under Kruger. Nothing, no card he wants to play. So we're going to go here. All right, and then we're going to do a group move with these guys. And I want to bring him all the way here. We'll have a momentary stack penalty, but that's not going. I think. What's the stack on here? You don't want to go over 200. We're at 131 right now. Well, let's go ahead and move these guys first. What do we have? Let's get this recon group kind of moving along here. And again, it would come under Wiedersheim's command. And one advantage of moving him up is as these guys move up, his command radius, is out to here now. So let's take this recon unit and get it moving down the road through Donelay and hopefully across the bridge and potentially just take the spot of these units so they can shift south. Okay. Oh, I've got it on group move. Well, that's okay. I was going to move all 3 of them anyway down this road. So I'll just keep moving them as a group. And now we'll go back to move. Always, check that, though. That could have been bad in a different kind of situation. Okay, so now the recon group really will move out here. Now I could take him all the way here to surround the town here of Lezi. It's tempting. Okay, we've got the Pioneers. We haven't had to use them yet, but if they do blow the bridge here, we may need to use them. So I'm going to move the Pioneers Well, let's do it one or two at a time. Ah, we uncover something here. He has another mech unit right here. Interesting. Okay, well, we didn't really know about that before. It's now been uncovered as we move forward. I think what I'm going to do, I doubt he's going to move down this road, but just in case, I'm going to put the Pioneers right up here. One more. Okay, we still didn't take any intercept fire. This would be behind a river. I'm kind of tempted to move them one more. Now, this isn't a super strong unit to be up against these guys, and I don't want him to get attacked necessarily, but across the river, uh, and I do want the Pioneers to be fairly close to this bridge so they could easily repair it if the Americans blow it. Um, this recon could also move up with him, and then I could put this tank battalion right here. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Now let's move them as a group into this hex. No intercept fire. Okay, excellent. All right. Now then, I already said, let's just get him moving. And since we're now kind of in range of this mech unit, let's go there one at a time. We're going to have those guys sit right there. And then our artillery, and this is what I was kind of talking about. We're on the artillery, and let's go to move. They could hit, this artillery could hit here potentially. Now, if we look at what we've got, the Vespi, it's not that great against hard targets. Okay, it's better against soft targets. Uh, the Grille, sure. It's pretty decent against soft targets. Not amazing against hard targets. Now we could move this normally, certainly, and move it up here. Maybe put it up here on this level 1. We could even put it over here on this level 2. Let's look at our ranges. We got a range of 8. We've got a range of 5. These are just anti-aircraft. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that gets us a little closer into range here. What I'd actually like to do, though, is get him, let's see, let's get off that for a second. Which elevation would be most advantageous for us kind of over in this sector? Well, we've got level 1s here, right? That can fire down into Burris. um, there's no good. Well, to fire down into Aracourt, you really need to be here or here, right? Well, I mean that's a long ways away right now. We've got other things to worry about taking first. I think where we really want him is kind of up in this. So anything that's coming down this valley, we can, knock out hopefully. So I'm going to take him for now anyway, and I'm going to put him. Gosh, he can move a long ways though. I am tempted. I could put him up on this level 2, or I could just move him. Tell you what, I'm going to move him right here for now. Do I want to go ahead and spend the 25 AP to to get this thing moving out a little faster? Eh, no. I'm going to go through here and go right there. Now he's still got points enough to fire, so I think we are going to fire the artillery here. No reason to leave those points on the table. His readiness is 79. I mean, you could make the argument, well, just let him rest this time. But we'll do that during the night, I believe. Okay, no return fire expected. So let's go ahead and hit attack, see what happens. Defender, we did do a little bit of damage. Okay, we didn't lose any guns. Our readiness went from 79 to 76. Our experience went up a little bit. Hey, that's a good thing. His readiness went from 100 to 89. Well, it was worth it just for that, probably. His morale went down a little bit, as did his entrenchment. He lost 2 green GIs and one M3 had to retreat, meaning I think it's not ready for battle this turn. Um, okay, I'll take that. And now he's got 0 points. All right, everything up here I think is where we want it. It's all in black. We've used the movement points. I'm very tempted to move this down here. But I'm not going to. I probably would if I'd been playing the game long enough because he does have these 88 millimeters. Now they do have a range of 3, and so we could fire on here anyway, right? And if we bring up this hex and we say ranged attack, look at all of the units we could do a ranged attack with out of here. Now we would invite return fire though. You know, you can see odds 2 to 1. 1 to 1. Some of these things you put in and it actually hurts your odds. I think what we want to do while we're sitting here, let's cancel that, okay? Let's go back to the hex. Let's do ranged attack, and let's just try to find units where no return fire is expected. That's not one of them. Okay, let's just start here. Okay, that's not one of them. So let's take him out. That was the first one there. The second one, nope. Okay. The third one, nope. No return of fire expected. Okay. No return fire expected. No return fire expected. And no return fire expected. Perfect. Okay. Now that doesn't mean it won't happen. You can see what's in this attack then. What would be here? Now, do we want to draw their fire back into either one of these hexes? Well, let's look at the map also. Bring up the map. You can see all of the things that could not possibly be in the attack. In white are things that could, but we don't have them in the attack. In red, you can see the pioneers wouldn't be able to attack, and you can see over here exactly what's going to be in green. Okay? Back. I mean, I think he's going to pull back out of here. But I think let's go for it. Let's just see what happens. It says no return fire expected. Is that true? Well, we lost a few guns, so that was actually maybe not the best idea. 75 millimeter pack and 37 millimeter flak both took 2 losses. We also lost a couple of the half tracks, all right? He lost 10 GI veterans, and we did destroy an M4 tank. So I don't know, is that a fair trade? I probably wouldn't do that again, but it was fun just to check it out. Our readiness went way down with that. I mean, you know, these guys are now pretty damn tired. We did a lot that turn with them, and so now they're tired. All in all, I probably wouldn't do that again, but I thought, let's bombard the town, see what happens. He went from 49 to 47. That's good to know. His readiness is not very good there. His morale, you can see, and his entrenchment didn't really change. Well, okay, it was worth a shot. We've moved all of this now. I did say that I wanted to move this headquarters, and we're going to move these guys as a group. And let's put the headquarters on top. I like when the headquarters on top. There we go. Okay, and we're moving with this anti-aircraft. It's a group move, and I'm going to bring them around by Jubilees, and they will eventually get into Jubilees here. Okay, now then, now then, we've got the boys in blue here. Now, I'm not expecting that he would counterattack here, but if he does, hey, we've got, 25 Panthers sitting here. That's a pretty decent force to match up against him. So I'm going to leave that there, but I am going to take this motorized and this Panzerjäger together, okay? But we can't move them together as a group here because this guy's going to want to move too. So we're going to go to just move mode. And where do we want to go? Where do we want to go with this? Now, I like being in this hex, certainly, but I also want the elevation. So I'm tempted to go here, although, then you do run the risk of him sneaking out this way. Now, what do we have here? We have the command, and we have a group of Panthers. Okay, well, that's pretty strong force. In here, this is your usual motorized division. And then we have the Panzerjägers, including what I call the Jagdpanzer. And you can see how good these things are against tanks. I mean, this is the Stug, right? Look at that bad boy. 184 on the offense, 245 on the defense. Keep this stacked with something, and that is a tank killer. So we're going to move, first of all, the motorized, just to see if we draw any fire at all. We don't, not yet. And now we can take the Panzerjäger with him. So let's put the Panzerjäger, we're still on move. Let's put him together. And now let's go to group move. All right. And we're going to come down this road. Oh, I didn't want to do that, but that's okay. Let's go back to move. Let's take that headquarters and actually move the headquarters back into town. I want to keep the headquarters right here, even though I'm going to move the other stuff. So I did waste a few movement points there. Oh dang. Action points. Say action points. We've also got this group of Panthers here. Now, I'm trying to decide whether I move forward one more or if I just kind of protect the road here. I'm being very defensive in the south, and we've got a real problem here. And maybe what I do is come down here to the south first. Let's find the command, the far south. Um, and let's look at the officer here. So we've got Bowman down here. Is there something that we'd want to play? He's got 10 points. We could do speed with this guy to help maybe try to get him out faster. Because as it is right now, he can only get to here. Well, I really want them to be here. Let's check this speed card out. What does it say? Extra action points for a selected unit. The AP increase is audacity divided by 2. Okay. Modified by headquarter power. Well, he's not, this unit is not within the 100%. He's only at 75%. So it would be modified. So if we did the math here, it's his audacity score 40 divided by 2, so 20, and then only 75% of that. So it'd be 15 extra action points. All right, well, how many points is it to move from here to here? Move costs 37. You can see it down here in this black window. It will show you exactly what the costs of moving are. So you see here, move cost 37, fuel cost 54. Okay, so that's very handy, obviously. Well, I think the first thing we have to do here, let's look. He's not getting any penalties yet because he's not completely isolated. But will he be? Boy, we could get really crazy and throw him up here and go try to connect. But I'm not going to play that aggressive here. Honestly, I wonder what he's got back up here, but we're not going to do that. Now this guy may take fire, but I think we're going to have to double stack him with this guy here. Where all can he move? He can only move along the road here. It's real tough movement, it seems, out this way. We'd have to get him back on the road. See, that costs 37 because are we going down a level? Height 0. No, we're on the same level, but the zone of control is giving us a 10 AP penalty. So we could get here, but I don't want to leave this guy all alone, I don't think. Let's start moving this guy back down the road, and we're going to kind of try to set our defense up maybe right here eventually. So let's move him down the road. He may get some intercept fire. No. May get some intercept fire. No. And then we'll move in here. All right. Well, now they're double stacked, but we have to figure out what we want to do with this unit. Do we want him, to move down this way and we kind of leave the other guy all by his lonesome? What do we have here? We don't really know what we have here. Okay. I'm going to leave that question. It's probably best if I move him out here, but I may leave them double stacked and do something a little bit different because I've got a lot of units here I can bring down this road to kind of cover off here. So what I think I'm going to do, we've got the commander here, and we've got this tank unit that's got 20 Panzer IVs. Now I hate for them to fight alone. They've only got 10 Nachtruppen. What does he got? He's got 130 staff. Well, the staff ain't gonna do jack. They're gonna sit around and talk about it. Sicherung. Now, it's just basic infantry is the idea. I'm sure they have a little different stats. Um, think what I'm going to do here is do a group move, okay, and I'm going to move them back across the river here. It's just far more defensible, right? But I don't want to give up this town, obviously, but I am going to move them here, maybe even here, and move this. How far can you go? He can get all the way down here to protect against a river crossing. Ah, yeah, I think I'm going to play a little, some real defense over here. I'm going to go. Now, this is 50, or I'm sorry, 47th command. Um, let's go look at this officer. Is there anything we could play here? Well, we could visit the front. We're not going to do that. Lutwitz, von Lutwitz, Heinrich von Lutwitz is out here. What does he have? He's got a good defensive score. Okay, I like that. Uh, Bowman, we could entrench. We could also put a defensive bonus on these guys or one of these guys. That's something to think about. I think I am going to group move here, okay, because I can't get these guys, I can't allow these guys to get isolated. Now, if he moves into this hex, it's still possible they will be, but now I'm still on group move. I'm going to move the headquarters up here. Headquarters has a really strong score, 46. I mean, it's better hell than our tanks here. Yeah, so I'm going to group move them there. Do I even take them all the way across the town or across town? Into the town? How far down here can I get these guys? Yeah, I can get these guys a long ways. Okay, he's got 0 movement points. I want to keep this here, but I have a motorized. I also have a tank unit here. I think I'm going to bring these guys down the road in a group move. And I'm going to put them here. Okay, that blocks this road. We've got this blocked. Now he may counterattack there, but at least we've got the headquarters that's got a little strength here. Now the problem is his command range isn't that far. I guess I anticipated correctly. I kind of want to go there, but then he's got an out if he wants to go this way. Um, Now, see, I did make a mistake in the fact that the reason this guy has 0 movement points, I could back him up here or to here, which is probably the correct play, and then move the headquarters. Uh, but the reason he has none is I believe he was part of that bombardment of town. Um, let's look at the strategic map. Is Peroy worth any points? No. Moicourt is worth 5, Zurus 5, Lagarde 5. So Marcourt, okay. This is worth 5, but we've got that fairly well blocked off. Not as worried about that, but this is more defensive. What I'm contemplating here is what exactly I would move down here into town. Leaving this tank group kind of all by itself in town strikes me as a bad idea. Now the points are back here actually at Maucourt. Um, yeah, these are the towns worth points. Paroy is not. Do I leave that there or do I take the tank? Do I put both of these tank units in here? Now it's mismatched commands, but that may be the better idea. I hate to go in an urban area with the tanks though, right? This guy could back up just to Marcourt, get back behind the river, but why? I mean, that's very defensive. Or I could just leave it right here. What's the stack on the hex now? 115. Okay, so I mean, these guys still are fine. I do think this needs to be protected a little better. But hopefully, as I draw these guys out, that'll be fine. I mean, there are no points over here on this side of the map. The only problem is we want to push to Aracourt. We don't want him to be able to shift all of these units here. But if he starts to shift this way, then we can move across the Marne and start to do some damage. I think I may just leave it like this. Now, we could put on a defensive bonus on somebody. So let's go to officer. Um, Entrench, recon, hold. Let's read hold. Defensive bonus for selected unit. Now, he is not very good on defense. He's a 30. Okay. Another problem we're going to have here, I think what I'm going to do, actually, is take this tank unit and put him here. I just don't want him to slip out here, right? And if this unit does start coming this way, he starts to open up some gaps for us a little bit. I don't want to be directly in town because he's definitely going to come attack that. But here he might not. Yeah, I'm going to... Gosh darn it, you son of a gun. Undo! Undo! I didn't want to move all of them. I was on group mode. Gosh, that makes me mad. There's got to be a way you can undo a turn, right? Or a move. There's got to be. There's got to be preferences somewhere. What could I move back up there? Let's go to move. See, I did that just for illustrative purposes. This guy, no, I cannot give up this town, so I'm gonna have to go back and move back into that town. Well, I can do it with the tank here, and I could bring another tank up there. Gosh darn it. That's why you always check. I was just in the position I wanted to be in. All right, when we come back next time, I'll tell you how to undo a turn because that or a move because obviously that could be important. We'll also turn the turn and see what happens and see how the Americans react to this. I'm being a little more defensive down here than I'd want to be, but I feel like he's putting a lot of pressure there. You can see we're uncovering a lot more American units. And, I think we're across the river here. We're across down here. We've got this surrounded. I think he'll pull back from Leslie. Once we have Leslie, hell, we're almost, we've just taken Jubilees. That's 10 points, 87. This takes us to 97. We need 100 for a major victory. Now, he is going to counterattack, right? So we've got to get ourselves into good position for that. But I got to figure out how to do this. Anyway, I'll talk to you next time. Strategy Gaming Dojo. Have a great one.